Desperate scriptures, it's people that are desperate for the truth, that feel like we've been bamboozled maybe or confused for 2,000 years. And we want to go through every word in the Bible to find out what God actually said. A study on the end times, and we're starting with this concept of the 7 year tribulation, finding out where that came from. So we looked up the word tribulation and we found out that it means just generally trouble or being in a tight space. There is one time in history where it's the greatest tribulation of all of history. So now we're going to look at where does this word seven come from? If we search 7 year tribulation, we don't get any results. Let's try to find 7 year, and we get I think it's 16 different, 16 verses, 35 matches, and 7 year is all about sacrifices and animals and holidays and things like that. But it's none of it is about a 7 year tribulation. So where do we actually get this from? Daniel 9:27. So in order to understand 9:27, let's start at 24. So it says 70 weeks are determined upon thy people to stop doing three bad things and start doing three good things. And this word weeks means a 7 year period. So you read 70 7 year periods are determined upon thy people. So know therefore and understand that from the going forth of some commandment to restore Jerusalem until Messiah the Prince will be 7 weeks or 49 years. And then there should be a little then there. And then 62 weeks. 3 score is 62 is 262. 62 weeks. So that's 62 times 7, which is 434. So it's a lot of math. Like, why didn't they just say 62 7 year periods? I want to make a piece of software that translates things literally. The street shall be built again in the wall, even in troubled times. And after the 434 years shall Messiah be cut off. There should be a little thought in there. It's after the segment of 434 years shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. 9:27 says, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And we don't know exactly who he is. If it's the latest person that was talked about, which is the prince that shall come to destroy the city and sanctuary, or if it's the Messiah. One fits in the past, and then one is a prophecy of the future. Somebody is going to confirm a covenant with many for 1 week. So I'm reminded of Matthew 26:27, and he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remissions of sin. There's the word many and testament. Let's look at Mark. And he said to them, this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many. So he's saying a New Testament. Let's look at that word testament. What does that mean? Contract. So a covenant. Okay, so Matthew and Mark talk about the New Testament or covenant, which is shed or poured out for many. And so we compare that to the language of Daniel, which says, he shall confirm a covenant with many. One way of looking at this is to say that Jesus ministers for 3.5 years and then he's killed. And his sacrifice causes the slaughter of animals and the offerings on the altar to cease. This word he right here is the whole contention. Who is he? Is it the prince of the people that will come and destroy the sanctuary? Meaning that they're gonna make an agreement with the Jews that they can sacrifice, and then they're gonna break the agreement at the halfway point and then cause all this destruction? Or is it Jesus who is going to confirm a new covenant or a New Testament with many, as Mark and Matthew say in the very language that they say at the Last Supper? Which person is it? Well, everybody argues about who it is, but even though this is the last person mentioned, they're not talking about the prince, they're talking about the people of the prince. So that sheds some light there that this is not the prince. But the most telltale evidence is that they're going to destroy the city and the sanctuary. Okay? They're going to destroy the city and the sanctuary in the end times. So let's look at what this says. There was given to me, John, a reed like a rod, and the angel said, "Rise and measure the temple of God and the altar and them that worship therein." It's not on the earth at this time. This is in a vision. So John is measuring a temple. Is he measuring a temple that will come down to earth physically, manifest on the earth physically? Is he measuring a symbolic temple? The next line says, "But the court which is without the temple leave out and measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles." Not the Gentiles who are saved, not the grafted on Jews like myself. "And the holy city they shall tread underfoot for 42 months. So these Gentiles are going to be treading Jerusalem for 42 months, but they are not going to be able to tread on a sanctuary. Now, if this is a spiritual sanctuary only or a symbolic sanctuary only, then the Gentiles must also be symbolic or spiritual. We don't expect that the actual physical Gentiles are going to ascend into heaven and trample a temple up there. If that sanctuary cannot be destroyed, then the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city. That makes sense with Revelation 11 and the sanctuary. That does not make sense with Revelation 11. So we know that the he is not talking about the people of the prince, nor is it talking about the prince. It's talking about this, whoever this Messiah is. This is where we get the term 7-year tribulation by translating this as a covenant with many for 1 week or 7-year period, as made by the prince. He, they say, refers to prince, or he refers to Messiah. Could go either way. When we see that there's a covenant with many made for 1 week, and that's also in Matthew and Mark as the covenant, as a New Testament, which is also covenant, made with many, poured out for many. And that's at the Last Supper, both in Matthew and Mark. So that looks like more like a fulfilling of the literal words that Daniel was given. Also, the people of the prince will destroy not only the city, but the sanctuary. And then we see in Revelation that the sanctuary is not destroyed. It's the outer court, which is trampled by the Gentiles. So therefore, this idea of a 7-year tribulation requires jumps in logic that a not 7-year tribulation does not require. So how long is this tribulation? Maybe we'll talk about that in the next video.